I guess, around the world about Lucifer versus Satan. Who is Lucifer? Who is Satan? Are they the same person? I really have no idea. Can you explain that
Well,
for me?
I've done a lot of work on that. We've done it in other interviews as well, but there is no connection, basically, briefly. This is, remember we were talking about the disinformation around Blavatsky and how people will just snowball, things, just certain wrong idea snowballs, and
Right.
something enters into the collective mind, and that's it. You can't even unroot it. This is
Right.
another one. Lucifer is
Oh.
a completely separate concept. And so when you see the Albert Pikes and the Mazzinis and these other people talking about Lucifer, but you happen to be coming from a Christian point of view, and you've been reading mistranslations of the Bible, mistranslations of this, garbage spoken to you from the pulpit, and you then associate Lucifer with Satan, well, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, there is something rotten in what the Masons are talking about, but you're never going to crack it by coming from that partisan point of view. The Lucifer that they're speaking of is just a code word for Aton, because Lucifer is the son of the morning. That meant the sun at the rising horizon of the morning, and the other true word for that is Adonai or Aton. They're Atonists. Lucifer is a code word because it originally represented, one of the interpretations anyway, again, it depends what country you're coming from and also what cult you're coming from. But to certain cults, Lucifer was Venus. Then I said, as I told you earlier, Diana, Lucifer. Well, Diana is the goddess of the moon, which is very bright. It's the second sun. She considered the sun of the night, you see. So that is therefore also a connotation. Then it was feminized in general. There's a French word, luce, an old ancient French word that meant the fish. So this ties it not only into the womb, you know, the vagina and the female, but also ties it into Jesus, who the Christians and their symbol of the fish, representing underground knowledge, or Pisces, a lot of astrological stuff there. And then Satan was a Hebrew word that meant nothing more than a poser. And it didn't even have a religious connotation, by the way. It had a I guess you'd call it political connotation in the synagogues and also in the Gnostic cults, like the Essenes or these groups, the Zadokites. When they had a debate and you sat around in a circle and everybody was debating, whoever was the person who took the opposite point of view was considered the Satan. That was the word that was used for him. Satan.
Ah.
Shaitan. All it meant was the one who contradicts. And in fact, in the earliest translations of the Bible, in the book of Genesis, the word Satan doesn't even appear. It didn't have that connotation at all. And more importantly, the word Lucifer absolutely did not appear. That is completely concocted.
It
and
appeared,
has no relevance whatsoever.
It appeared
it's a code word.
It appeared in Isaiah, though, didn't it?
Well, I know that it did in that book, and it was translated as such, and that's where we go to it, you know, when people point to it, and that's where the first term comes up. But when you read that particular Isaiah comment, you will be able to decode it quite easily when you understand that it's talking about celestial bodies.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, absolutely. The fallen one, even the idea that it was connected to something fallen, right, is to do with planetary cosmic events. That's all it has to do with it. You know, it's okay, though, if later on one of its this is the way words are. I'm not against it. I'm saying, okay, if a word then takes on a secondary or third meaning and, okay, it gets connected to the evil one, by all means, that's fine. Just don't forget what its original meaning is. This is what's happened. Years have gone by, and people have forgot what it really means, and then it's used so broadly, or it's used what's called
Loosely.
denotatively to denote Satan or evil, that, you know, people forget then that it has many, many other meanings as well, and many other connotations, and some of them are not necessarily negative. The idea is, what people have to, and this ties right back to what we were saying about the Christians and groups like that, like Judeos, Christians, have to worry about maybe their orders are created by the same hidden hand that they're pointing at. Well, what happens when you really realize that when Albert Pike and these people are using the term Lucifer, they actually mean Jehovah. Because Aton is Adonai, is Jehovah. So there you have a problem. A Christian who comes to the work of Albert Pike going, hey, he's evil, he's Scottish, right? He's a Mason, he's a Illuminati. Look at him talking about Lucifer. Yes, but the problem is, his Lucifer is your Jehovah. How are you going to work that one out, pal?
That's great. Wow.
I've thought that as well. I've thought that it's amazing. It's amazing that you're putting that.
I'm sorry, but what kind of God would demand blood sacrifices. I'm
Well, this is fantastic, isn't it? Here we go. I mean, this opens up the whole, absolutely, what God would. And of course, one can say leniently that blood sacrifice is a metaphor for you giving off your own energy to seek the light. But then there's a bunch of people who take that literally. As George Maxwell said, hey, chump, what are you doing digging out my heart? He's offering up your heart. They literally believe it's a blood sacrifice. So, again, wow, what's been done in the name of religion is really, really colossal.
Yeah,
Wow.
I completely agree. Definitely. Let me ask you this. God, that's a great topic, religion. Should we keep on going?
Do you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Chris
Well,
loves to
I
bash
can do
religion.
about
So.
15 more minutes with you guys before I got to go. I got an appointment. I got to go.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
perfect. Then let me get to some of these email questions then. Somebody in the chat room asked, is there a connection between Illuminati and alumni?
The words are the same. And I would say that to a certain extent, yes, because the fraternities in school that use terms like alumni and so on, yeah, they're fraternities that if you go along to get along and matriculate as they want, sure, you're going to end up,
Okay.
maybe being a member of the Illuminati or something like that. So, but the words just mean enlightenment or enlightened ones.
Okay. Another question from the chat room is, in your tarot readings, have you seen anything for this year?
No, because I haven't been doing it quite that way. I've been more looking at the whole cycle we're in and the symbolism of Pluto. And I've spoken that a lot on other shows, so people can go to the What's New page of my forum, and they'll see other shows that I've done on that subject of the movement of Pluto and what's going on in this particular age. It's very interesting. And Pluto is, of course, the planet of deconstruction. So that's why we talked about earlier that if people get into the mode of deconstructive thinking, everything will be cool. They'll really get their pieces of the truth in the puzzle. It'll all fall into place. But if people remain with this solar sort of strictly Jupiterian, strictly mercurial way of thinking, well, that's not going to gel quite right. You need a balance of everything, of course. But Pluto is now in town, and he's asking for a certain kind of different way of understanding things and a different attitude. But yeah, we've talked about that on many other things. People can also go to the article I did. It's right there on the Michael Tsarion website, 2012, Shiva and the Age of Awakening. They can go to that and talk about it there too.
Let me ask you this. Another question from the email. Do you agree with the goals of the Illuminati and the Luciferians that they're trying to basically make the United States a third world country? Would you agree that they're trying to do that?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely do believe that's been going on. I believe it's going on for hundreds of years. I believe the Constitution was a wolf in sheep's clothing methodology of attaining that. I believe that from the very outset, and people can read my Constitution Con article, which is again on the Michael Tsarion website. I go into that. They don't have to read it all if they don't want to. Just read some part of it to get up to speed on that. I've got plenty of links and sources as well to other scholars who've toyed with that idea. I don't think anybody's gone into it with as much depth as is possibly needed, although there have been some people who have. And I would say that the outsourcing, the unlimited immigration, and just the kind of creatures that you've got running the shop who are clearly allied with the British aristocracy. If people go to Weapons of Mass Destruction Found, this is an article I did, it's also on the Michael Tsarion website. I have the quotes there from these people, from the Kissingers, and from all these other creatures. I have the quotes from the Kennedys and these other people talking about their sycophantic appreciation, you see, of the British royals and all of this heresy. And then in the Constitution Con article, where I go into this much deeper, we have the quotes from King George III that during the War of Independence, and the British knew they were losing, this man, this king, swore eternal war against America. And believe me, these people's word is taken as law for people. And so his henchmen, and this includes the modern-day Windsor family, all of these people from that time onwards are doing his bidding. They have not changed. All that's changed is their tactics. They now do it with a velvet glove, with a smile on their face, by moving into the countercultural elements, by funding all sorts of think tanks and orgs, and as I said, countercultural pundits and movements and the media